Hello, Internet. Welcome to episode number 321 of the Comic Watchers Show. I'm Matt. Chad is not here yet. He'll be here later. He had to get air conditioning installed in his apartment so he doesn't die this summer, which we are all grateful for. Our guest this week is the one and only Kelly Thompson, author of Absolute Wonder Woman, a lot of other fine comics you've read, and coming in September from Dynamite, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Hello, Kelly.
Hey, Matt. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So, this is your second time on the show. We talked Powerpuff Girls last time you were around. Now we're talking Buffy. So we are getting into like all things '90s with you, and I kind of love that because I'm an old man and the '90s am. So, but tell us, if you will, what led you to become the new writer of Dynamite's Buffy?
Well, I think we'd have to go very far back to how foundational Buffy is for me as a writer, like what a big fan I am, that I don't usually want to do properties that started with actors in the roles, just because I think the likeness stuff is so tricky and so hard for the artists, and it seems like it's getting more difficult because of all the legal stuff, where they want it to make it look just like the character, but don't make it look like the actor, which I feel like artists' head was explode when they hear that note. Mine wants to. So I've always sort of avoided it. Just because I personally have a big disconnect there. If it doesn't look like the actors, I don't feel like so I've stayed away from that stuff, and it would only be something that I just had to take a chance on like this, that I decided to do it. So I think the origin is Nate Cosby, who I'd worked with on a Nancy Drew miniseries and also on a 3-issue Powerpuff Girls run that had been super fun. He knew I was a big Buffy fan and Angel fan, and he reached out to me and was like, well, so Dynamite is getting this license, and I really want you to do the Buffy book. He's like, I know you're really tight on schedule, but I would also want you to do the Angel book if you were into it. And I was like, so I have good news and bad news. I was like, I want it, but I have to have both books, and I only have one idea for it. Like I it's one of those situations where I'm very attached to this concept that I had, and I totally get it if like you and Dynamite don't like it, or the IP holders don't like it and they don't want to do it. That's absolutely fine, but it's not going to be a situation where I want to like go back to the drawing board and come up with a new pitch. Like, this is the pitch. I've been thinking about it for years. I think it's really fun. It plays with all the things I want to play with. I think it's not been done before, which is hard when you've both had a lot of seasons of a show and have also had all sorts of comic book adaptations. We've had reboots where they start over as like, they're 16 years old, just meeting. We've got future stories. We've got spin-offs directly from the series. So it's a lot of stuff. And we wanted to be able to make it simpler for fans and say, you don't have to have read any of that stuff. Like, it's fine if you did. That's great. We hope you loved it, but you don't need that as a buy-in here. It's definitely helpful if you know the show, 100%. We do try pretty hard in Buffy #1 to like welcome in people who maybe aren't familiar with it and get them clear on like what it's about. But I would say more, we try to dial in on why it's great, why Buffy herself is great, why the people around her rally to her, and like what's at stake there in that. So, we make a big effort to try to bring everyone into the tent, but I think you and I both know it's primarily fans that are kind of seeking this thing out. Like, I hope we'll bring in a lot of new fans and make new ones, but I think that's a hard ask. I think mostly this is for the diehards out there. It certainly is a love letter from me. Whether they take it that way or not, I guess we'll see.
So, does the new series take place within the continuity of the shows?
So I haven't been exactly answering that, but I think you can kind of piece together the information that's out there already. And when I say it's not a reboot and it's not when they're old, you sort of have to
Yeah.
come to, all right, well, it's somewhere in or around that. So yes, that's what we're looking at.
I got you. So yeah, like you said though, there's been a lot of different interpretations of Buffy in comics. Series that were set between episodes or seasons, the future reboot of Frey, quote unquote seasons 8 through 12 that Joss Whedon had a hand in, and so on and so on. And I love that you're bold enough, if I may, to look at all that and say, okay, here's my interpretation, because these are beloved characters and a beloved property. I mean, was that in and of itself daunting to you?
Well, I mean, it's very daunting and intimidating to take on characters you love like that. It wasn't daunting to push aside the other comics, because pushing them aside, it's not a judgment on any of them. It's
Sure.
just that's too much of an ask, even for giant Buffy fans, and because there are a whole bunch of different reboots from different companies. I mean, it's Boom, Dark Horse, was IDW in there too? I forget.
I believe IDW at one
Even I
point,
don't
yeah.
remember. So, you're talking about completely different takes from completely different publishers. So I think we were just trying to be clean with it. Like, if you know the show, and especially if you love the show, it's for you. But we're also trying to bring in anyone who's never seen it before, or maybe you've dabbled in some of the comics and you liked them and want to try another one. This is perfect for you. But we had to make ourselves clean from the other runs, just because there are so many takes, so many interesting directions, and we had to sort of stake out our own territory a little bit.
Right. So let's bring your artist Stephen Byrne into the conversation. What was it like to work with him?
It's great working with Stephen. I mean, one of the really great things about Stephen is he's a huge Buffy fan, and I think that immediately helps. It's instantly valuable, but it's also valuable, like Buffy #1 of all the issues we've done or are doing right now. Buffy #1 is definitely the most heavily sort of referenced to. I mean, you're always going to have referencing, because it's like, what does Sunnydale look like, and what does the magic box, so all of that is referenced anyway. But we were referencing some specific scenes and things in #1, so that becomes, I don't know, I mean, maybe Stephen loves it, we didn't talk about it specifically, but if I was an artist, I would find that incredibly tedious. But a way to make it less tedious is if you really, really love that universe, right? It becomes more fun to play in it. So I think that was helpful, because Stephen really had a really rough. I asked a lot of him in Buffy #1. Like, it's your first issue, and we're trying to sate the old fans and intrigue new fans. It's a big ask. And then we're like, and let's throw this huge plot wrench in there with a lot of surprises at the last minute. So that's not last minute, but the reveals come toward the end, as they tend to.
Right.
So it was really great. And it's this thing I mentioned before about the likenesses, like finding someone who can do likenesses well, and within this really weird, narrow parameters they give you, but who's also a great storyteller, good with emotion, good with action. Like, that's a needle in a haystack. And we were lucky to find 2 needles in haystacks with Stephen and Gianna Como. Gianna Camino. They both are just really great, and we're very lucky, I think.
Well, it sounds like you've got a really good stacked team working with you, and it helps that they're all Buffy fans, like you said. So, what did you find yourself challenged trying to find the voices of the characters, or are they ingrained in you at this point?
I mean, I sort of arrogantly just feel like I know their voices, but I think there's some checking there, right? There's like, Nate, my editor, we were talking a little bit about Angel #1, and we were talking about, proofing pass and things like that. And I was like, you didn't give me a lot of notes on dialogue. Are they coming? Do you have them? And we were talking about, like, I didn't quite have Angel's voice right. I think probably in the, he's a little tricky because he's pretty laconic in dialogue,
Right.
but he's actually pretty broody in captions, like, and like, not chatterbox, but he's really thinking shit through. So it became a little bit of a trick, I think, to make sure those were balanced the right way. I also think I'm slightly on my back foot because I think it'd be a little bit easier to write Angel early on in this series if he was just in LA doing his supernatural detective thing.
Sure.
But part of the conceit of this book is that the first arc, and particularly the first 2 issues, Buffy #1 and Angel #1, work as sort of like a 2-part pilot on a kind of event crossover. Like, instead of building up to the crossover, we just start with the crazy crossover to get our new sort of status quo, and so everyone can understand, like, how those things are rippling out to affect everyone in this universe. So because of that, I think Angel is actually in a little bit of state of flux here, where you've had to go home again a little bit, which can be awkward. It's under intense circumstances that you find yourself there. You're trying to be a leader, but also you feel like this isn't your place. So I do think some of my struggle with his voice came from that. Like, we're just finding him in a particularly weird moment for him.
Okay.
But I hope I got there. I mostly feel comfortable. I think the harder part is we don't set it. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Hold on. I got to mute 1 second. I have to cough. Sorry.
No.
We don't really call it out specifically in time. So we're playing a little fast and loose with the when and the where of it all, right?
Okay.
And so I think the hardest trick with adapting the voices is making sure they sound like themselves, but updating it to 2026. So it doesn't feel like a 20-year-old joke when you say it. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
I think that's the trickier part. But also, we don't want to say, oh, it's 2026 now and everyone has cell phones. And it's like, because that would be a completely new world than they were experiencing. So, like, we play it a little fast and loose without drawing attention to it, I think. And I think it works. Unless you sit down and start, like, critically analyzing it as, like, for a dissertation.
That's
and then I mean, well, that's okay. I still think it works. I just think we're using that to our advantage a little bit. That if it just works and it feels right for what you know it to be, then you'll just roll with it, right? So I think that's a little bit the idea there, by not pinning it down specifically in time. So that's been tricky, but I think we're getting there. I think it's coming together pretty well.
Awesome. Love to hear it. You probably, I don't know if you can answer this yet or not, but how far out do you have plotted? How far in your mind, like, how long is this story?
Well, we plotted initially, when I submitted my pitch stuff, it was for the first 12 issues for each book. Just as a starting point. I guess it's possible we'll be a huge failure and we'll be over after one arc. It could happen. I hope it won't. I really love doing it, so I'd like it to work out. I do think that some of the plans I actually think what the second arcs end up being for both Buffy and Angel will probably be quite different from my original pitch as we're heading into working on them now. Just because as I was working on it, I know comics pretty well at this point, and I know Buffy and Angel television quite well. Like, I understand the pacing of that, right? How it needs to ebb and flow, both within an episode and within a season. And applying that to a comic book is different and tricky. And I knew one of our biggest problems would be that we have a massive cast, even split across 2 books. It's like it's like 12 to 15 characters that everyone loves and wants to have screen time, panel time. So I think my feeling was that I was too ambitious in my hopes for the second arcs, and to focus on the story properly for this first arc, I wasn't able to build in enough of that B story to feel like I could get what I wanted those second arcs to be, to feel earned at that point. So I think if we keep going on, those second arcs will probably become more like third arcs.
Okay.
And I'll probably do something a bit different for both the arc twos. Because I just, there were some big plans I had, especially for the Angel book. And I just think it'll be too soon. I think it won't land. And I don't like changing course, because comics is fickle, and we may never get there. We may just do a year, but I hope we'll get there. I hope a stronger, better chosen arc twos will be part of what helps us get to arc threes, just trying to be smart.
Well, I have to say, as far as timing goes, you've got a little bit of a lightning in a bottle thing happening for you right now because of Absolute Wonder Woman. So, if I may be so bold, I think your name being attached to a Buffy comic is going to be a proven recipe for success.
I hope so. I have. It's hard to you are absolutely right that Absolute Wonder Woman has raised my profile in all sorts of ways, and it's been a great for the most part. But it's hard for me to understand how that really translates. I mean,
right.
Yes, I'm getting more royalty money, and that's great. Yes, this, that, and the other. Yes, I see it has Absolute Wonder Woman has a really cool self-propulsion to it that I've never gotten to experience on a book before, where it doesn't even really feel like you have to be pushing it because everyone's pushing it too. And that's a really nice feeling where you're like, oh, I don't have to talk about this every time I open my mouth because people have figured it out and they're talking about it, and that feels great. So I would love if we can draft off of some of that heat. I think I really love Buffy and I want to do her proud. So I hope people dig it, man. I don't know.
Yeah, most definitely. Briefly, Chad, welcome. We're just like you plotted for us, so we're talking about all things Buffy. You got your air conditioning situation worked out.
Yeah, it's that time of the year where it's just crazy humid, and you get even hotter putting the stupid air conditioning in.
Brother, we don't want you to die of heat stroke. So, I'm glad you took care of business. But now we're on.
Well, not only does Kelly have Absolute Wonder Woman going for her, she also is Eisner nominated for It's Jeff. Come on.
That's right. Let's not forget the little shark that could.
Absolutely.
He already has an Eisner, which is crazy. Like he got one not last year, the year before that. I don't know. One of the years he got one. 2022 maybe 2023. I don't know. Anyway, it's crazy. It's awesome. I mean, I love that comics is that diverse that I can get nominated for something like Absolute Wonder Woman at the same time that you can get nominated for Jeff the Land Shark nonsense. It's great. It's great. And I have to say, I take them sort of equally seriously. I mean, for the most part, Jeff is easier. It requires less of a lift, but I always try to bring my A game. I'm very old school that anyone's comic could be their first or last time seeing my name on a comic and reading it. And so if it's bad, they're never going to come back. So you got to make everyone good, man.
Yeah.
And let me know if I'm wrong, but I think Jeff got a big lift being part of the Marvel Rivals line.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we weren't getting that miniseries we got last year was solely based on, the popularity of Jeff. And then I think that series did well, so that's good. But I think it's his continued popularity in games and merch and toys and everything that gets him his second miniseries. So yeah, it's a very real, legit thing.
So, getting back to Buffy itself, what was your introduction as a fan? to Buffy?
So my first episode of Buffy, and I don't know, I think it must have been reruns because I'm pretty sure it was the summer where I caught it, but it was the finale of season 1. So Prophecy Girl. Yeah. Which, if you haven't seen it in a while, I know we all sort of go, season 1's pretty rough, and it is. But Prophecy Girl is actually pretty strong. I would say Prophecy Girl, The Witch, and Puppet Show are all really strong. Like the Witch and Puppet Show, I would say, are fun at seeing the lore they can maybe do that's a little beyond just vampires, and it's very playful. It's maybe a little too camp. I feel like they dialed back the sort of camp and the comedy a little bit as they keep going. I mean, season 2 is so about the traumatic love story, right? But so you don't get quite as much camp, but I do think The Witch and Puppet Show in particular are a great example of like really the magical chemistry of that cast, and like really seeing that they have the chops to like, riff off each other and make it work even when it's like weird and representing a show that has the name Buffy in it, right? as it should be. But I think Prophecy Girl is surprisingly emotionally strong and has some really interesting twists in it, certainly at that time for a vampire show, I think, or for a vampire romance.
Well, I mean, and you talk about Prophecy Girl, and Sarah Michelle Gellar carries a ton of weight that episode as an actress. When she delivers the line, "I'm 16, Giles. I don't want to die."
Yeah,
you feel that.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. It's really good stuff, and sets the pace for so much stuff that's coming. I feel like is Chad inside the air conditioner? I think he might be. Now he's gone.
Sorry. No, sorry. I'll move so I'm not like sitting in between the fan and the air conditioner.
We just want to make sure you're not trapped inside it. That wasn't the installation. Now you live in the air conditioner.
That'd be nice. So I have a question. Myself not being a Buffy person, I know, steal yourself. Will this
I'm gone. I'm out of here. Oh no. I didn't mean to cut him off. Oh no.
Oh, Chad, where did you go?
I'm sorry, Chad. It was just a joke.
No, I'm dealing with a 9-year-old now. Okay, I'm back.
We've got bedtime issues.
Matt, what was your first episode?
My first episode was it was our 2-parter at the end of season 2. So
oh wow.
Yes.
That's an even more dramatic way than entering
Prophecy Girl. But my mom and stepdad had been watching the show, and they for months had been telling me, Matt, you need to watch this show. And of course, me being a cool high schooler at the time, like Buffy, that sounds dumb.
Yeah.
And so they finally convinced me to sit down and watch what was the end of season 2. And I don't know who these people are. I don't know why Spike is pretending to be in a wheelchair, or why Drusilla is as crazy as she is. But listen, or why this Giles guy is getting tortured. But I will tell you the writing and the acting and just everything you want to come together in a show or a movie or storytelling in general just comes together flawlessly in those 2 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, I think those are very strong opening episodes. I also think I love your answer. It's also sort of my answer, but I like you saying it better, which is because that's how I ingest media as well. Like there's a real discourse, I think both between fans, like in social spaces, in the community, but also I think at the companies about what's required in every single comic. And, there's a lot of feeling that every single comic should be like, this is probably a terrible reference because it's probably none of your listeners have read these, but when I was a preteen, I read like 1 million Sweet Valley High books. And they all have a boilerplate opening to introduce you to the twins, the Wakefield twins, and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like a lot of people in comics think you need that kind of boilerplate stuff in every single issue. And it infuriates me. I want to let readers be smarter and to let readers do exactly what you and I did, joining Buffy not at the beginning and going, oh, but there's really interesting stuff here that I want to know about. So I'm going to go find it, or I'm going to keep watching it and maybe it'll fill in the pieces, or like whatever it is. Right.
Yeah.
I want to believe more people are like that, but
I
it
agree.
is hard. It is hard.
You've been reading my reviews, haven't you? Like, when something matters, like a nice editorial note would have been nice here to help, but
something to that effect, yes. I was reading a great example of what you're talking about, Kelly, in terms of treating readers with respect is Something is Killing the Children, which I assume is something that's up your alley because it's got
Absolutely
some DNA in it.
It's a great book. I'm definitely behind. I don't know what issue they're on, but I'm definitely behind. But it's fantastic. Everything I've read of it, including the spinoffs, which is incredible.
Yeah, James Tynion and company are putting together something awesome. But the current arc is a flashback arc, which great. But the most recent issue is a flashback within the flashback. And if you're not paying attention, you're lost. Like what? Who? Where? So, Tynion and Werther Dell'Edera, the artist, they treat their readers with a level of respect that you don't see as much as I would like.
I completely agree with you. I think it's hard to do that now, especially when we all talk about how bad media comprehension and reading comprehension seems to be. But I guess I would say that the people who read comics seem like they would still have high reading They're the people who are still reading. They're the people who are still obsessed with that stuff. So if anyone's got good comprehension and media savvy with this stuff, I feel like it would be people who are voracious readers, but I don't know. The science is inconclusive as far as I can tell.
What can you do?
But I would also say that, in fairness to the whole idea of the conversation, let's acknowledge James is one of the best. So I think he has the deftness. He and the people he regularly partners with have the deftness and the skill to pull that off. I remember I don't remember what arc it was, but with Something is Killing the Children, I had been absolutely loving it. It was fairly early, maybe it was in the second year or something. Mm-hmm. They were going to go into a flashback arc for a story, and I was just internally just groaning I don't want to go back. I don't need to know the history. And it was so good. I had to eat all my words. It was one of my favorite arcs. I thought it was really full of interesting ideas and emotions. I was this is how you do it. This is how you get away from, you hear people saying they're sick of origin stories. They're sick of chosen one narratives. They're sick of, and I feel the same. I'm weary of them. It doesn't mean they can't be done right. Something is killing the children. The Dune chosen one narrative there in the Villeneuve movies is some of the best chosen one stuff I've ever seen. It helps that they're trying to say it's bad that he's the chosen one. I mean, that helps to be subversive, but I still think it, at least initially in the films, it sets itself up as being that, and you're not bored by it at all because it's being done very thoughtfully, and so yeah,
most definitely. But so you've worked for all the major companies. Currently killing it over at DC. Of course, you had a very celebrated run on Captain Marvel, plus Jeff the Land Shark over at the House of Ideas, and Deadpool, which I think was criminally underrated, by the way.
Thank you so much. That really got killed by the pandemic. I don't think people loved it the way I wanted them to, but I do wish for a reality in which the pandemic didn't put its finger on the scale.
True.
Maybe we could have gotten more time or we could have figured it out. I do think the King of the Monsters stuff was really rich material that we could have done a lot of things with. Jake and I had so many ideas, but just
Oh
all got
yeah.
cut short.
Well, and very unfortunate. But where was I going with that? Oh, right. So you worked for all of these companies, and now you're over at Dynamite and Nick Barucci and all those great folks. How has your experience been working with them?
Well, it's been really great. I mean, I worked with them on a Nancy Drew
Oh,
from
okay.
a few years back with my same editor, Nate, and Jen St. Onge. And Ariana Marr was there, and I'm forgetting everyone. So that was really great. And then more recently, I did a Powerpuff Girls 3-issue arc
That's
thing.
right.
That was very fun, also. So it wasn't that foreign, but I have to say they've been particularly generous in this respect, because not only have they been very excited by and into the ideas that I've brought to the table and the scripts and everything, but not every publisher would let you do this weird thing where you're like, listen, let's start with an event, and we're going to make the 2 issue ones sort of like go together, so that if you read Angel #1 without reading Buffy #1, you're sort of not going to know what the fuck's going on. That's cool, right? So, not every publisher is like, yeah, okay, go ahead and do that thing that's going to totally mess with our FOC numbers. So I appreciate them being cool about it and like understanding that this was the best way to tell the story, and that, yeah.
Most definitely. So, do you have? Okay, so now I'm going to get into fanboy territory a little bit with you. Do you have a favorite Buffy character?
Buffy is my favorite Buffy character, which is not that interesting, except for that I never pick who the lead is. I'm always more drawn to like side characters and supporting characters, comic relief characters, the truth teller characters. I never go for the heroine or the hero. And I think Buffy is one of the best heroines of all time. I put a lot of that on the way she's written, but I do put a lot of it on Sarah Michelle Gellar herself. I think she brought an incredible weight to her. She's just you just want to like alternatively have her save you and also save her right back, right? There's like a vulnerability and a strength that she just embodies in like a very powerful way to me. So Buffy was the one I was most excited to get to write, and the most afraid to do justice to. But I also really like Spike and Cordelia and Anya, who are all sort of salty truth teller characters. Giles is, of course, a fave. I was a little nervous about writing Willow, but she came to me pretty easy. I think like Angel, there's some really emotional things in that first arc that help drive her voice a little bit for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any characters that, on the opposite of that you maybe find more difficult to write or have trouble finding the voice of?
I think I'm not having trouble with it, but I've had trouble. I'm not having trouble with it. I've had trouble. How's that? How's that for telling? I think there hasn't been enough juicy panel time that I feel like I'm really nailing a distinct voice for Wesley or Fred.
Oh.
I think they feel a little generic right now for where I'd like them to be. Like, I don't think I'm getting it wrong, but I think I can do better. I think Tara, similarly, it's like, but honestly, I feel like it's very similar to the show where they just write her as like the nicest person alive. But like sometimes that can feel cloying or shallow, I think.
Yeah.
And so, I want to make sure we're digging deep on everybody. So
we didn't touch on the creative team for Angel. Who are you working with on that book?
So it's Julia Giacomino is the artist, and then Lee Lowridge is coloring both books, which should help give us some nice continuity across the 2 books,
most definitely.
especially when they're crossing over. The Julia is really incredible. I don't know her. I haven't talked with her as much as Steven, but so it's more, the editor is more between us in that situation. But she's doing incredible work. She is very good with action and emotion. Her likeness stuff looks a little different than Steven's, but I think it's quite good. It really leans into the things it needs to get right, and then sort of, I don't know, it has a great fluidity to it. Really good storytelling choices. I'm very impressed with it and excited about it. I do think she also designed, so we've got a big bad that's sort of new and old at once. I know that's not,
Ooh.
I know that's I know that's a little confusing, but it will be true. When you see an Angel 2, what happened, or an Angel number 1, you'll be like, okay, new and old, I get it. So anyway, but that big bad has these very fun minions that Julia designed, that Dawn terms vampires, wiry, because they're big, wiry, and they have these wings and things. And I think the design is just incredible. They're terrifying, and it's so cool that we get to play with this in a way that, like, the TV show could never handle that. Vampires with wings that are like around all the time. That would be just a
Right.
budget. It'd be a budget killer. It'd be a special effects nightmare. Everyone would hate working with the flying vampires. It would be a mess. But for us, we can just do it, and it's been really fun. There's Meredith McLaren did a cover. I think it's for Angel number 3, and I don't know. Fans probably won't be as excited about it because it doesn't have Buffy and Angel on the cover or whatever. But it's just like a terrifyingly cool neo-noir looking vampire with wings. It's awesome. I just love it. So she's done a couple covers for the Angel series that have just really blown my mind. I like her first one. I don't know if you saw it. It's got all these crows like obscuring Angel's face and head. It's very ominous and cool. But I cannot wait for I think it's cover number 2 to be revealed, which has a redaction on it. So we'll see. There's some fun stuff coming.
Awesome.
Do you find it easier to, when you're, since you're writing both titles and they're crossing over, to keep things straight and in line?
Yeah, I mean, you missed this part of the conversation, Chad, but they're basically interlinked for the first 5 issues of each of Buffy and Angel. Like, I guess you could get away after the number 1s for just reading one side of the story, but you'd honestly be missing out a whole piece of the puzzle. We broke it up into sort of away and home teams, very X-Men Blue and Gold, which someone else pointed out, because just for so that the fans and so the readers and the artists don't go insane, right? You can't have 12 characters on every panel. So we broke it up to like do that, but they're all working toward a common problem. They're just sort of divided into 2 teams as they do it. So because of that, writing the issues is almost just fluid. I mean, they just feed one into the other. But it will be more of a concern, I guess, when the books become more separate and when Angel returns to LA and like his supernatural detective gig. But I'm not that concerned about it. I did do a ton of prep. I'll say that I did a massive Bible for the show, a reference that included a reference Bible for the artists so that they'd have at hand all this stuff easy to draw. Although I will say that screen caps of the Buffy show are particularly dark, so not super helpful as reference all the time.
So it sounds like it's easier writing this crossover than it was, say, the Aquaman It's Jeff.
Well, those were surprisingly easy. The crypto one was super easy. I mean, it was like the pitch was approved, and I was like, I'd love 2 more pages, and they were like, nope. And then they were like, okay, you can have one. And I was like, thanks, that'll do it, and it was just super easy. I thought working with Marvel and DC, this is going to be a nightmare, but it was super easy. And Aquaman was slightly more complicated, but I think just because there was actually dialogue in that, right? There was a bunch of dialogue in that one, unlike the silent one with Crypto. So it was a little more complicated, but it was pretty easy. But I will say working on these are way easier than like the absolute Wonder Woman Batman issue I did, for example. Like that was incredibly difficult.
I'm sure Scott gave you no notes.
Yeah. Listen, he had to give me notes, right? Like it's the first crossover of this huge thing. And while we did it in Gotham, Wonder Woman was sort of keep taking the lead because it was her book. So it was a ton to coordinate. I was a little jealous. I reached for it. I wanted it. I wanted to go first. And then I regretted it deeply because it was very hard and I was very worried about getting it right. And because we just had to set so much up and lay so much groundwork for it to work. And I feel like when Scott and Nick did their issue, they got to be really light. Oh, did you hear that?
That was weird.
What's that sound? Chad?
They're not me.
Are you in a void? That's not Chad?
No, I don't know. It's not on my side. I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
It's probably the demon Moloch in the internet.
Anyway.
There it goes again. Hey, Chad, try muting real quick.
It's definitely Chad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. He knows.
I'm sorry, Chad. There's a monster in there with you. You should look around the corners and stuff, though. Anyway, when Nick and Scott got to do their stuff, I felt like they were able to be really like cool and not overwrite it. And I wanted to shake them both and be like, you can only do that because we went first. With all of our dialogue.
Right. I mean, what an amazingly fun sandbox to get to play in, though, while you and Scott and Jason and everybody else are building this entirely new thing that is just a tinderbox of popularity.
It's been awesome. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of it. It's I'm sorry. I can't even hear.
Hey, Chad, there you go.
I'm sorry, Chad. It's out of control. I don't know if people are going to be able to hear this. Are they?
Yeah.
We're okay. Good. All right. I can't remember what your question was. I'm sorry. Oh, yes. It's incredibly fun to play in that sandbox. I'm very grateful. Like, when Scott came to me originally, I didn't know if he was like, and talked to me a little bit about it. I didn't have the job yet at that point. Right. And so I didn't know what it was going to be or if I was going to love it. And then when he came to me and was like, I really want you to do this. And I was very excited to try it. And then, of course, as many people have heard, I almost couldn't do it. And I was like days away from sort of calling him and being like, you got to find someone else. I'm sorry I burned up so much of your runway, but I cannot figure it out. And, I'm so grateful that didn't happen, like that I was able to lock in and come up with a great idea, because it would have been so upsetting to miss out on this universe.
Yeah, most definitely. I think you found a unique voice for Absolute, Diana, that contrasts with mainline Wonder Woman in a way that feels very organic, and I can't imagine that was easy.
I think that for the most part, I'm just writing what I think regular Wonder Woman is and sounds like to me. But I think one of the differences that helps distinguish us a little bit is that there's a lot of cadence stuff that's different for Absolute Wonder Woman, simply, I think, because she prays so much to the god. Like, she talks to the gods, she prays to the gods, she offers up sort of herself in supplication all the time. So, like, that doing that has like a rhythm, its own rhythm to it and its own sort of feel. And so I think that because we do so much of that stuff, I think it does tend to make her feel more distinct than the other Diana. But I think if you had Diana doing more of that praying to gods, I mean, not that she doesn't do it sometimes, she does, she
Sure.
talks to the gods and whatever, but it's not, you know, I mean, our Diana is using it to like access magic and shit. So it's much more a part of her daily deal. And I think that's probably the distinguishing thing primarily.
Yeah. Then your artist, whose name I literally Hayden Sherman,
Yeah.
with two first names, and I know I probably just got them backwards. What an amazing talent! You just got lucky with him because he came out of nowhere and not just dropped this, but also Batman Dark Patterns on us.
Yeah, they're an incredible talent. I think they're a sort of generational talent, and that's even before it's even before you consider the speed at which they work, which is just mind blowing. I mean, Hayden can draw a script faster than I can write one. It's
Wow.
Truly incredible. I mean, not literally if we were racing, but yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to stay ahead of them. One of the only reasons I can stay well ahead of them, I mean, in fairness, I write like 5 or 6 books at a time, but one of the only reasons I can stay ahead of them is because they're so fast, they can do 2 projects at once, which, I mean, if you talk to any other artists in this industry, I mean, I feel like almost nobody would say that's even remotely sane. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing to be able to do. But I think unless they get bored with comics and they head off to something else, I mean, I think they're just going to own the show, man. They're
disagree with you.
They're incredibly talented. They're so innovative, so creative. I'm always blown away by design or their approach to a page that I hadn't considered a way to do it. Their panel layout stuff is, you know, I think we haven't really seen panel layouts like that since, I don't know, regularly since like J.H. Williams. And I think what's fun about them both having a style that is very interested in the framing is that they have completely different finishes, right? Hayden's is like got a little more looser indie style with a thin line that's like, I don't know, we sometimes joke like Hayden doesn't joke, but Adam, my partner, and I joke that it's like Mobius Wonder Woman, which is an incredible thing to have, right?
Yeah.
And then J.H. Williams has got like a much more realistic, fully painted kind of a thing going on, but they're still doing very similar things with storytelling. I hope they would both find that a compliment. I certainly think they're some of the best in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And so to speak. Yeah, that's certainly one of the things that the Absolute line has going for it is that the entire creative team of every book, even if there's a fill-in artist, has been just the cream of the crop from the top down. And that says a lot to DC editorial, their ability to attract this level of talent and cultivate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really. I assume this is the first time I've ever gotten to do something like Absolute Wonder Woman, but I'm sure any creators who've done it before know that what I learned, which is as long as you can find the idea that you know is right, then that you feel is super interesting and can carry you through a long, exciting run, as long as you can find that idea, it's the easiest gig you'll get. Well, let me say, as long as you've also got a publisher and editor who are like believe in your vision and are like into it and supporting you, that's key. But you know, once you've got the idea, you're basically standing on the shoulders of all these great creators and everything they've created for decades, and you can use any of it you want, and you've got a clear path. And so it's the best of both worlds. You're working with icons, but you're finding a new way to work with them. You can use all the stuff brilliant people before you have done, as long as you update it and make it fit into your thing. It's great. It's truly great.
Well, being afforded the opportunity at one of the big two to pursue your vision in a way that feels true to who you are as a creator is nothing short of a miracle with all hands involved.
Yes, 100%. It's not a completely perfect situation, but it's definitely the closest I've ever gotten as far as letting creators chart their own course. And, obviously we're all keeping in pretty close contact because the absolute universe still has to knit together. So you can't just do anything, but, there's been a lot of freedom in letting creators do what they know how to do. And I always think that's a good thing.
Well, it speaks to trust. Like you were saying, the editors trust the creators.
Yeah.
And, it would also, getting back to our original topic, it's obvious to me that the editors and on up, everyone at Dynamite trusts you and Steven and everyone concerned with Angel and Buffy to execute your vision.
They have put a lot of trust and support for us, which is really great. I hope we don't let them down. Everyone pre-order Buffy, please.
Pre-order
and Angel.
Buffy, pre-order Angel. You need one, you need the other.
Buffy number 1 is July 22nd. Angel number 1 is August 19th. And if you like the first issue, if you like Buffy number 1, you are absolutely going to need and want Angel number 1. And if you only want to read Angel number 1, you're going to be real confused. So just get them both.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm always putting Buffy in people's hands anyway. You have to pay that forward to people because it is one of the best shows ever made. Period.
I mean, I can't even tell you how my jaw dropped over here when you were saying your parents were watching it. God, how I would have killed for parents who wanted to watch something genre-y like Buffy. I don't know. Maybe like you, it would have made it seem uncool in some way, that it would have shunned me from it initially. But God, I was dying for them to be into something I was into. So I'm sure I would have irritated them endlessly with my wanting to talk about it and, whatever. But yeah, we were never into the same thing ever.
I would say our genre watching with my parents started with X-Files, which that was like 93. Yeah. So yeah.
If my dad watched more TV and was had more downtime, I think he and I probably could have connected on more things because he likes science fiction and we have a lot of crossover in that stuff. And I didn't know it then. He's a voracious reader. He's sort of like a speed reader. So he's incredibly fast. He just never got to read for pleasure when I knew him as a child because he was working all the time and raising 3 stupid children. So, I didn't know he was a big reader, but my mom hates science fiction. And so we're sort of, and fantasy. She doesn't like much the genre. So we're very far apart in that respect. Do you know the Dean Koontz as a writer? Dean Koontz?
I know of him. Yes, I haven't read
so he's a sci-fi writer, and he dabbles in other stuff, but it's always sci-fi in there. And my mom was reading one of his books that she got at the library, and it was presenting to her as like a murder mystery, like a Mary Higgins Clark type of a book. And I was like, are you liking that, Dean Koontz? She's like, oh, I love it. She's like, it's so good. I was like, I love that you love it. This is great. And she's like, why? What do you mean? And I was like, well, it's science fiction. And she goes, no, it's not. And I was like, Mom, I've read about 100 Dean Koontz books. It's science fiction. And she's like, no, it's just a murder story. And I was like, okay. I was like, have a good time. And like a week later, she goes, you were right. Science fiction. And she stopped reading it. She stopped reading. No, she didn't like the science fiction when it showed up.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So as you embark on this journey with Buffy and Angel and their assorted characters, I have to take a moment to say that we've lost some of our favorite actors and people from that world in last year. Most recently, of course, Anthony Stewart Head, and it makes, having had this conversation with you, like, it makes me feel like you are honoring the memory of Tony and Nicholas and Michelle, and doing so in a way that's faithful to the world that they helped bring to life. And I just really thank you for it. I haven't even read the comic yet, but
well,
thank you for that.
I mean, I certainly hope we're doing them justice. You know, I was doing a cast in about 10 minutes last week when I saw the news about Anthony Stewart Head, and I think I ended up crying by the end of that episode when we were talking about it because it was just so fresh. Yeah. I think whether you had a great dad or a bad dad, Anthony Stewart Head was like an incredible role model. If you watched Buffy, he was not only like a great surrogate father figure for her, but, you know, parents in stories like this that are coming of age type stories, parents are deliberately pushed to the side, which makes a ton of sense. But it makes it all the more valuable, I think, when you've got an adult figure in that world that's the dangerous world that you're hiding from your parents. When there's a father figure within that world, like, God, how powerful that is. He knows what you're doing. There's like a permissiveness to it and like an approval to it in like a dad kind of a way that I think is very powerful. But Anthony Stewart Head and the writers imbued that character with just a terrific character. I mean, in season 2, when after she sleeps with Angel and then the ramifications of that occur, like his response, I mean, that's just a perfect, it's a conversation you dream of, you know, that you would get to have. Sorry, I'm crying again. Fuck. Yeah, the characters are important to me. The world is important to me. It all really matters to me. And it is particularly weird and sad to have lost Michelle, Nicholas, and Anthony all within a year, right? I mean, I can't remember Michelle's. Was it in the fall now? But anyway, within a year, it's shocking. It's shocking.
So, yes, I feel like these characters are in very safe hands with you, Kelly, and I cannot wait to read what you do with them.
Well, I hope you like it. I'd love to hear, even if the answer is not for me. I still want to know. I'm always looking to improve. So, you know, hit me up when it's out and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure talking with you this evening. Thank you for hanging out with us. And we'd be happy to have you back another time. Anytime.
Thanks so much. I'd love to come back.
Okay.
In less than 100 episodes.
Yes. Absolutely. So, Chad, who are we talking to next week? We've got, I think, a double whammy, maybe?
We got a twofer next week. Monday is Jordan Morris, who's writing one of the Predator books and the all new Venom and some other stuff, I think, with Queen and Black.
Yeah.
And then just booked today, Ben Percy will be joining us on Thursday.
Yes. I suspect we're going to talk about very cool things with him too. So, all right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. You can check us out any day of the week over at comic-watch.com. And until next time, get out there, do some good in the world. Support local businesses. Let your pride flag fly, not just this month, but any month out there, because it's a little bit of a scary world right now, so we need some good in it. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, we remain the Comic Watchers.